Hello, I'm David Hughes. Welcome to Your Perfect Body, the podcast of the esoteric teaching community. Today's selection is an essay entitled Vedic History, Part 2, The Vedic Empire. Last time we discussed the Vedic. Hello, I'm David Hughes. Welcome to Your Perfect Body, the podcast of the esoteric teaching community. Today's selection is Part 3 of Vedic History, The Vedic Empire Collapses. In Part 1 and Part 2, we talked about the Vedic history of the creation of the universe and the Vedic Empire that was situated in Hastinapur, which is now Delhi, India, more than 5,000 years ago. And in this part, we're going to discuss the more recent history of how the Vedic Empire collapsed. Faced with the uncontrolled spread of evil influence over the earth and the sudden failure of its advanced technology, the Vedic Empire gradually collapsed. Distant provinces such as North and South America were the first to declare their independence. Then the British Isles, China, and the Middle East broke off from the kings of Hastinapur, who were powerless to prevent the spread of this demonic mutiny. The conquest of the Vedic Empire by demonic forces meant the takeover of Earth by evil aliens from the hellish planets. Whereas during the Vedic Empire, human society was guided by the authentic principles of religion, now it is managed by the cold principles of global economics and power politics. Where under the Vedic Empire, the earth was a bucolic agrarian paradise decorated with peaceful grazing cows, now there are heavy iron factories full of noisy machines spewing pollutants into the air, lakes, and streams. Where people lived in peace and harmony for thousands of years, now they fight over the slightest differences of politics, race, creed, and color. The world was turned from one great esoteric school, leading the population to heaven through spiritual realization, to a recruitment party for the minions of the hellish worlds. Welcome to Kali Yuga. Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. The demons did not attain victory right away. Even though they held political and economic power, the Vedic teachings of goodness, truthfulness, and religious principles were deeply embedded in people's hearts. For these natural religious principles are the eternal qualities of the soul. There ensued a global dark age, thousands of years long, where the powers of evil fought the good people of the earth for dominance of the planet. During this time, the demons strove to erase all memory of the glories of the Vedic Empire from people's minds. Thus, they implemented a policy of diversification of language, culture, and religion, designed to divide the people of the earth into mutually conflicting societies. Seditious teachings of nationalism, racism, economic class conflict, and religious dogmatism replaced the universal religion of the esoteric teaching. A disinformation program on a huge scale was launched to pervert the very memory of the great Vedic culture. The forces of evil and deception conspired to erase the very existence of the Vedic culture from people's minds. Consequently, people have lost faith in religion and forgotten the real principles of spiritual life. The demons are afraid that if people have hope of finding the truth or of attaining spiritual perfection, They will not so easily put up with being deceived and oppressed. Why else would the governments and universities of the world deny the wonderful teachings of the Vedas and try to cover up the great Vedic civilization and culture? Why would they invent so many lies and spread disinformation about the history of a culture whose own account of its history is already complete? The truth is that material civilization can never satisfy the soul. Instead of leading by inspiration and inspiring loyalty by truthfulness and conviction, materialistic leaders have to hide the truth and saturate the atmosphere with deception and disinformation. Precisely expressing the real cause of the problems of urban life today, my spiritual master teacher wrote, quote, "Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. The gigantic industrial enterprises are products of a godless civilization, and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. The more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general, for only a few can live lavishly by such exploitation. The natural law is that the human being may take advantage of the godly gifts of nature and satisfactorily flourish on them without being captivated by the exploitive motive of lording it over material nature. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative attempts." Unquote. If you agree with the government and the mundane history professors that this Vedic version of history is a fairy tale, consider this. The story I have told you over the last couple of editions of My Perfect Body about the Vedic version of history was first written down over 5,000 years ago, before any of these events had actually happened. It is a summary of the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the main Vedic works expressing the esoteric teaching. All of the predictions of the forthcoming events of the Kali Yuga do so far have come to pass. The first principle of real religion is truthfulness. A spiritually advanced person always tells the truth, even to an enemy, because he knows that there is justice in the universe, that evil is ultimately self-defeating, and that goodness is ultimately victorious. When you come here to hear about the esoteric teaching, we tell you the full story. It may not be pretty, but the real truth seldom is. You will not get such full disclosure elsewhere. The purveyors of other teachings will not tell you that their scriptures were edited beyond all recognition, that they have distorted the teachings and practices to sell in contemporary materialistic culture, or that they are withholding the source literature and deliberately not giving you the complete teaching. They will not teach you the Vedic principles of disciplic succession and error correction, or the methods of duplication taught by the esoteric teaching. Judge any teaching by the result, not the hype. Any teaching is true to the original only if the practice and the result are the same as given in the source literature. Evil people use deception as a standard operating procedure. We all know that politicians, the government, big business, the media, and the educational system lie. The fact is that in Kali Yuga, these are all institutions of evil, subject to demonic influence. The esoteric teaching offers a way out of this society of deception and an opportunity to hear the real absolute truth. When an honest and sincere person encounters wisdom that he has not understood before, he will want to learn, to understand. Deceptive people assume that everyone else is lying, but an honest person can recognize the ring of truth. So when an honest person hears the truth, they become enthusiastic. They want to learn more. They want to hear deeper. They want to think it over, and they want to act on it. The esoteric teaching offers you a genuine alternative to the society of lies, to a civilization that is built on deception and disinformation.